Welcome back to another segment of The MCR. Lynn is to my left, Mac is to my right. My name is TJ. Thanks everyone for supporting us. We're on multiple platforms, BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble. And we need help on Rumble. So Mac's trying to get that figured out, and maybe someday he will. In our previous segment, we talked about the African-American Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, and you know how it kind of exposed the libs for what they are, and now there's been a response leading to one of my theories, which I intend to share. But so now that Elon Musk has taken possession of Twitter, now all of a sudden they're talking about the Disinformation Governance Board. And it's part of what they call the Department of Homeland Security. So Homeland Security is going to also contain Disinformation Governance Board. What do you think of that?
Not much. It sounds a hell of a lot like all of us lining up to read the one newspaper as they did in the Pravda and they did in the old days of the Soviet Union. And that's the fact. That's the truth. There's no other opinion. You better believe it, and you better conform.
And the head of this Disinformation Governance Board, and I'm inclined to say the whole thing because it's so obscene, but the head of this board is a Nina Jankowicz, if I'm saying her name correctly. But she's going to become known as the Mary Poppins of the Disinformation Governance Board. In case you're unaware, the New York Post, on their online segment of their edition, whatever you call it, New York Post has a TikTok video of Nina Jankowicz, and she's singing a parody of the Mary Poppins song, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and she's spouting liberal environmental nonsense to the tune of that song. And you know what, you got to go to it, because if you didn't hear it, see it, and listen to it, you'd think no one could be that absurd. I will give credit where credit's due. She did appear to have a half decent singing voice.
Well, we all should have saw this coming, because there were indicators. Facebook with its Facebook jail, which I've taken issue with a lot of people who get on there and say, I was in Facebook jail, like it's some kind of badge of honor. To me, it's a so what. But you got the Facebook jail. You can only say this. This is the government's version of community standards that can't be violated. And I don't know to what degree they're going to take this. I suppose they'll take all three of us on this channel and put us in a gulag like they did the J6ers. But like I said, we should have saw it coming, because first you had the Facebook jail, then you had the fact checkers, which are admittedly just a matter of opinion. There's no fact checking to be. I don't tell you how many videos it's partly false.
Well, the code speak that we've had to employ to remain on YouTube, okay? You know what? I suppose the positive to that is it's compelled us to expand our vocabulary, perhaps, but. It's just tiptoeing through a minefield. It seems.
And people will ask, and I had this discussion with someone on Retalk this morning. Why don't you just get off? Our mission here is to spread a message. Getting off doesn't help that. All it does is give YouTube what they want, which is conservatives out, which is exactly what happened to Twitter. So then YouTube is nothing but leftists.
Well, this whole thing reeks of Orwell's 1984.
Oh, sure does.
Where they actually had the Department of Thought Police in that, and I did watch the whole thing once and parts of it a time or two also. It's boy, you talk about make believe, just making excrement up, we'll say.
Yeah.
Just so you can control people, and the tantrums they've had over Elon Musk taking possession of Twitter, and now this is going to my theory. I think for some time now they've been waiting for the right moment for this whole disinformation governance board, and I think Elon Musk was the trigger to that.
Any thoughts there, Lynn?
Well, with Facebook jail, they're just trying to, silence conservatives and different thoughts among their own. And what I've noticed recently is a lot of things that I won't click on is they're like happy-go-lucky or happy, they're emotionally happy things of like a pet doing something, or look at this tiger cub orphan that, gets a bottle for the first time. And it's like, I'm starting to see a pattern. They don't want any opposition, and they're just trying to silence the people that have the opposition.
Well, we talked about this before. Some people laugh at it, but it's really kind of crude. You have I'm going to assume he is physically disabled at the very least, and perhaps mentally disabled, kid eating a Cheeto, and I'll put this in the description box, and he's and it's got like 37 million views, and that's what people are locking onto because they can't cope with this constant harassment that they're getting from the media and they're getting from Facebook. And it's just easier to avoid it, I think, for a lot of people. And they are sheep being led to the slaughter. Keep watching those cute cat videos and see what happens at the end.
Yeah, I think with, I think there's been awakening at the local level, especially with, what's happened in the past year with everything, stay in your houses and, don't mind what we're teaching your children, and people are actually waking up.
You don't need to know about it even.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, what they're forecasting, let's create this, thing of speech monitoring and everything like that. I don't think they're seeing the rising up of people that are just fed up with the system, that are upset that their kids are being taught all this propaganda. And I'm looking at the numbers saying I can understand that there's no reading, writing, arithmetic basis to where they're dumbing down children. They're not teaching them the basics of what they need to do in life. Everything's not a bag of roses, in walking through life. And I think that's what their main goal was to do is, don't hurt anybody's feelings. You can't be a bully on the playground.
Those are not bad things, but they've used those as a vehicle to do evil, in my opinion.
No, they use as a reason to employ. I like to use the term Machiavellian ways. It is so important that the bullies be under control that they have become the bully.
Well, they get to decide who the bully is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not evident. They just decide that you're it.
We do have a couple notable Republicans who are pushing back. No surprise here. Governor DeSantis has pretty much made known that ain't going down in Florida. You know, and Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt also saying that federal government's going to get a lesson on federalism. So
they need one.
Yeah,
and Jen Psaki needs one.
Yeah, big time. And trying to put a positive spin to it. Another election issue we have at hand here in the off-term election.
Well, let me throw this question to you. We'll do this a little out of order since you're the driver of this ship here. I think, and I want to know if you two agree, this is being done for the sole purpose of setting up the idea that we are a danger to people.
Oh yeah.
The Supreme Court ruled that you can say anything, that doesn't present a clear and present danger to the general public. That's why they've put the seed out there that we're terrorists, and so on and so forth. And this is just an excuse to weaponize the First Amendment against people's free speech.
Yeah, I guess what it is they feel they are so right that any opposition must be a hazard to society.
It has to be what's the phrase they like to use? A danger to our democracy.
Yeah.
We are not any in the first place anyway, but this is a constitutional republic. It's very different than a democracy.
But it's their way and only their way, and anything other than their way is just way too dangerous.
And what do we call
and
that?
hazardous.
Authoritarian.
And blah, 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 blah. Therefore, we must have this disinformation governance board.
Yeah.
And now that Elon Musk has possession of Twitter, anyone can get on there and say anything. Oh, my goodness. Oh, heaven forbid.
Like they haven't been already.
So those are just my thoughts on this whole governance board, disinformation governance board. Its head, you can think of her as Mary Poppins. By all means, if you can go to the New York Post online, you will find that TikTok video of hers. She doesn't have a bad voice, so I'll give her that much credit.
I never liked that song
All right.
to begin with.
Well, it's part of that movie stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got. Any last thoughts?
I'm sure I could go on for a few more hours, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, all rantings must come to an end here. So that's it. That's it for this one. Thanks everyone for hanging in there. We'll catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.